Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for World Trigger Chapter 105. Alright. And it's officially revealed in this chapter that that black rat is, in fact, Enedora. His horns were actually transplanted onto it. That way they could transfer his personality and memories to it as well. Because the horns were fused with his brain and all that. I don't know if they did that. If I don't know if the transfer of his personality and memories were on purpose, or if if they were just experimenting and it just so happened that it worked. And it just happened. But fact is, it did happen. So they try to take advantage of it by interrogating him to get information. But they also bring in Yuma, that way they can figure out whether or not he's lying to them when he says the things that he says and gives them that information. All right. And the big thing to come out of this interrogation is Aftokrator's God. Okay, we actually get information on that. All right, and I remember back during the last arc, High Rain actually talked to Visa and Hughes and told them specifically, like I remember the quote exactly. He said, "Visa, Hughes, get our new god," referring to Chica. And at first, when I heard that, I thought he was just like exaggerating, or I wasn't really sure what to think of that. But now I realize after Crater legitimately has a god, okay. And Enedora goes into more detail about this. First, it's a little bit of a refresher about how all the countries in the neighbor world are all individual planets themselves. And then Enedora tells us that those planets are created by these giant queen triggers, okay? And each planet has a god that ends up being sacrificed to the queen trigger, okay? The queen trigger and the god fuse together, and the god then ends up taking care of the planet, so to speak, just taking care of the planet and like making sure. It sounds weird to say it runs, it functions, but I mean, like, I guess making sure that the planet doesn't break down, things like that. Like for like preventing global, like, I don't know, like it's weird. I guess making sure that everything is well with the planet, like no natural disasters, things like that. All the farming, like there are no droughts. Like I guess that's what the god does. I guess that's what they mean when they say taking care of the planet. But that's what the god is supposed to do: take care of the planet. All right, and eventually, obviously, that god does die, and when the god dies, the planet dies with them. Though, to be fair, it happened centuries in the future, not like 1 century, like a normal human lifespan. So I guess being fused with the queen trigger ends up lengthening their life. Excuse me. But eventually, the god does die, and the planet dies with them. So before that happens, a new god has to be chosen to replace that old god. All right. And these gods have to have a lot of trion, because the planet size is reflected by the amount of trion that the god has. So if the new god has a small amount of trion, then the planet will shrink, and they don't want that. Okay, because then you'll have population problems and just a whole bunch of stuff, just a whole bunch of problems. Okay, and Chica obviously has a ton of trion, which is why they chose her to be the new god. All right. Now, after this discussion about the gods, Kinuta asks Enedora why he attacked the base, and Enedora actually lied. Okay, he said that he didn't have a choice in the matter, that he was ordered to do it, and he was like, "No, that's not true." All right, so his real reasons for attacking the base, I'm sure, will be revealed sooner or later. Why point out that something was a lie unless you're going to actually tell us the truth eventually? That the truth must end up being relevant at some point, or else you might as well just let that be the truth, right? So, if you're going to go to the trouble of making sure that we know that that was in fact a lie, then you might as well make it a point to show us what the truth really was, or else there was no point in making that a lie in the first place. Might as well just left it as the truth, So I'm sure that'll be relevant at some point or another. Um, but yeah, after that, Enedora ends up figuring out that Hughes has been captured. Um, and he knows that Hughes isn't going to give them any information at all because he's really, really loyal. But he goes on to say, like, I'm not Hughes. You know, if you want my help, I'll give it to you. I don't really give a crap. Okay. He even says, if you wanted to go to Aftokrator, I'll go with you. I'll be your guide. All right. I just want to get revenge I just want to get revenge on High Rain and Mira and Visa and Ronbanine for leaving me behind. Right, and Yuma ends up saying that's half true. He's telling the truth when he says he wants revenge, but he also has another goal that he's not telling us. So eventually, I'm sure we'll hear about that as well. All right. Um, but yeah, after that, everyone kind of separates. They decide that that's enough for this first round of interrogations, and they'll just pick it up some other time. All right. When everyone breaks up, Shiro ends up coming over and telling Osamu that he sucks. Pretty much. Pretty much. All right. And Osamu's thinking like, yeah, I mean, I think if I practice enough, I'll be able to get stronger, and then we'll be able to make it to A rank. And she was like, no, it's actually pretty arrogant of you to actually assume that you can improve that much. Okay, like, so clearly Shiro. Oh, it's not like I don't think he's just trying to be mean though, because Tokieda is talking to Yuma and actually points out that Shiro doesn't talk to people outside of Kazuma Squad really at all. So for him to be talking to Osamu this much and actually be giving him criticism, he must be trying to help Osamu out. But why exactly would he be doing that? He must have. There's more to this relationship than meets the eye. This relationship between Osamu and Shiro is going to grow into something. We can see the seeds of it being planted. We just have to wait for it to grow and see what type of plant it grows into, I guess you could say. All right. But the last thing to talk about here is Osamu and Yuma making it back to Tamakoma, and Ninomiya being there waiting for him. Okay. He apparently knows Rinji, Chika's brother, who got sent to the neighbor world. Because he ends up bringing him up here. All right, so I'm honestly not sure what it is that he's planning here. Is he just trying to get in their head and psych them out before the match, or is he legitimately trying to help them, or is he going to try and like convince them to not become A rank and not go on the mission? Like I don't know. No, I don't know what his goal is here. Because he's not, it's not like he's exactly a fan of Mikuma's squad. He's not a big fan of theirs. So I don't know why he would go out of his way to help them like this, but I don't know what this could do I don't know if he cares enough to try and hinder them either, so I'm not really sure what his goal is here. I'm interested in seeing what happens in the next chapter. But that's really it for this one. Overall, I will give it a 6.5 out of 10 because the big things to come out of this chapter were stuff about Aftokrator's gods and Ninomiya knowing Rinji. But that last one isn't even that big. It's just like, oh, he knew Rinji, okay. The big thing here is Aftokrator's gods. But for the entire chapter to be carried by a little bit of information here, that's it was kind of cool, but I mean, it's not. I don't. It was good to know, but I don't think it's enough to carry the entire chapter to a point where I could give it anything higher than 6.5 out of 10. So, it was kind of a cool chapter, but there was just a lot of stuff in there that wasn't, story development or character development or anything like that. So yeah, that's that, you guys. I'll just give this chapter a 6.5 out of 10, and yeah, that's that. Rate, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at BlacklistOTA. And I'll see you guys next time.